Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abhishek Jain, and I'm pleased to invite you all to the M.Des series by Planty. Today, we will be covering an M.Des in Industrial Design from IIT Bombay. Towards the end of this session, we will also be having a Q&A session for which I would request you all to put your questions in the live chat box. Today, we're very fortunate to have with us Akash Singh, a B.Arch graduate of the 2017 batch from Amity University. He then went on to pursue a Master of Design or an M.Des in Industrial Design from the prestigious IIT Bombay from 2018 to 2020. In today's session, Akash will be speaking in detail on the application process for this M.Des, as well as the opportunities that are available both during and after completing this degree. I would now like to hand it over to Akash to begin this session.
Yeah. Hi. Hello. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Planty, for like a very warm welcome. Um, I should. I think I should start with a little bit more about myself. Um, so I did a bachelor's in architecture because I was one of those rebellious students when I was younger. Like I did not want to do an engineering degree. Um, I got in because that was the only thing seemed that logical to me, and it was a little bit of a creative expression. And I had like, I wanted to make some skyscrapers and bridges and all that sort of things. So I went on to study architecture. Um, During that time, I like after like first 2 years, I kind of realized that I was more interested in the idea of the things that make up the space, right? Like in the space itself. Like in architecture, we had a course called furniture design, and know what industrial design was, and I looked at furniture pieces made by famous architects, and all these famous pieces of furniture, like the Eames chair and the chair in the Barcelona pavilion, and all these sort of things. I also found myself to have a very sort of an emotional connect to appliances and to other objects, like random objects, like decor pieces, pots, pans, everything. And that it sparked the idea of like doing a master's in industrial design. During that time, like during final year of architecture, I also started an internship of sorts at a studio called Scavio. Um, it was started by a couple of the people I know who were like older graduates from NIT Jaipur. During that time, I also started attending a lot of art and design festivals to know like what was happening, what's there, what's what, and getting to know people. Um, and for me personally, there was not a lot of mentoring that was involved, and it was a lot of self-discovery that happened in my like journey to understanding what industrial design is and to pursuing it. Um, and it was just like a keen interest, and that sort of drove me. And coming to like who should be applying for a master's program in industrial design, I think anybody who has a very keen interest or a dedication to like make things can apply. Like it is an open course, it is open to everybody. There is no like prerequisites of you have to have this degree, then only you can do it, or anything like that. And being in architecture, I would like to think like most of the people have, or like, and we have an open mind to things. Like we are ready to learn and observe and like understand things in a different way. There is certainly one thing that after being a graduate from architecture, if you're going into industrial design or any sort of a design field, like which is not exactly architecture, you'll have to relearn a lot of things. Like for me, like I saw there were certain concepts that we learned in architecture, especially like how forms in spaces and objects, and like the idea of form and the basics of design that we studied. The basics are still the same, but the way you think about those things kind of differ, and that is one of the things. Mm, so also, um, I would like to talk a little bit about the application process, I guess, because a lot of people, I think, who are here would like to apply, would like to know more about the application process, what to do, what not to do. So like, when I did, so there are certain things that have changed. The pattern of the examination has changed. I have not very much kept up to how the pattern is right now. But generally, the application process begins in October. Sometimes it starts even in September. But just be on the lookout. Just keep checking the seed website. That would be for entrance into IITs, right? Generally, there are three main examinations of sorts to get into design. One is the NID General Admission Test, or Design Aptitude Test, or whatever NID calls it. It is for the three NID campuses that are there. The secondly is the NIFT entrance examination, which is for the NIFTs, National Institute of Fashion Technology. But they don't just have fashion technology; they have a lot of product design and allied fields like accessory design, jewelry design. I know a lot of people who are very much interested in jewelry while I was pursuing my masters. Um, so those are the things. If you are interested in that, just be on the lookout for that as well. And for seed, just keep checking the seed website. They generally update it by October. um, for application, what you can do is you can people like you can either apply in the final year, or you can apply once you have graduated. All right. While the I'll tell you my experience. I applied twice. The first time was when I was in the final year of college. I applied. Sorry. The form hello. Yeah. So I applied twice. First, when I was in the final year of architecture, and I did not get a good score. I got some 300, like not 300, I should say, like somewhere in the 300s, very close to 400 rank, which was pretty much useless. And the second attempt was after I graduated from college. It was in January of 2018 that I applied. Mm, so the first attempt, I was very disheartened, like, when I got to know like I did not get a very good rank. It was but I took it as a learning opportunity, and I spent a lot of time like practicing reading, learning, and involving myself with industrial design. Because by that time I had sort of realized that I do not want to pursue architecture anymore. Architecture was fun. I did the course because I had gotten into it, but I realized that it does not excite me as much. And I would have rather like spent time working on myself instead of working with somebody and like making plans day in day out. And the second attempt, I knew certain things that I would have need to do. So by second attempt, by the time I had even like given the test, I had my portfolio ready. uh, this would be one of the very important points I would like to mention for everybody here, right? The day you apply, and the day you like fill up the form, pay the 2000, 3000, or how many ever rupees the form is, start working on your portfolio that very day, because you will not get enough time to make it once you have um, gotten your result. Um, Also, having a portfolio ready will help you to have something in hand if you want to look out for an internship, or if you want to like work as an apprentice somewhere else. It will also help you to learn a lot about industrial design. Need to have a portfolio ready like all the time. um, it is my recommendation to like start working on your portfolio like the very first day you fill up the form itself. um, the I cannot I would like to talk to you about the examination, but I think the the knowledge that I have and what I would say is sort of irrelevant now in some sorts, because the entire examination pattern has changed. Um, Earlier, what used to happen was there used to be two sections. The first was a theoretical multiple choice thing, in which which they asked questions like general design aptitude and general design knowledge. The second part used to be five plus three questions. The five questions would be from every field that IDC IIT Bombay has. Like one would be from animation, one would be from interaction design, one would be from mobility and transportation design, one would be for product design slash industrial design. And during the exam, you did one of the questions that you felt confident with, and it was generally a given scenario, a problem that was given, and you had to do something to solve it. So in 2018, the question that for the product design thing was something of sorts that there was a person who had an amputated limb. His right hand was amputated, I guess, and you had to design a device that would help him um, cut and pour out milk from those 500 ml milk pouches that you have, uh, and boil it. Like how are you going to design something that helps him do that? Because so boiling milk is a multi-step process, right? You have to like have a container ready which is on the stove or wherever, and then you have to cut the pouch which is like uh, which deforms very easily. There has like you need two hands, one to hold your scissors with, the other to hold the packet with, because otherwise it'll just like flop around here and there. So uh, so that was the sort of device that you had to design, and you had to so, so that is the main question. um, Certainly, like for other fields there are questions that like relate to that field. There was some so these were the type of things. Right now I guess it is all just sketching, and you have to like do be you have to be able to do sketches that they ask you to do in some sort or something. I'm really sorry, I have not kept up the format of the examination. You can just go to the seed website and just check it out. But the general idea is like you need to have certain skills, certainly. Like you need to know how to sketch, you have to like you need to know the basics, you don't have to be very good at it. The idea is to you had to be able to convey what you're thinking and whatever is going on in your head onto the paper, so that the third person who is going to evaluate your paper can understand. And that is very important, as a designer, even as an architect. Like how you take what is in your head, like the ideas, the things that are there in your head, and how do you lay it onto paper, for how do you communicate that idea to the third person with minimal words, or so how do you do it? That was very important. um and yeah, and another thing, like for me, there are a lot of people I know who would be thinking of going to IIT Bombay, or who would be going to apply seed and want to go to some sort of an IIT to do their masters. uh, I have one thing to tell you, like please don't be heartbroken if you do not get into IITs. They are not the end all be all of everything. uh, there is a lot more that you can do. There are so many good colleges now, and even if there is something that you want to do, and you want to really get into IIT and you did not get in, instead of sulking or being sad, just reach out to people from the place you wanted to go. um, I had a class of 14. I know everybody there from my batch at least is very happy to help everybody out in whatever way possible. There is a long list of alumni who are like ready to take in like prospect students for an internship. Even if you like talk to some professor at IDC or even at IIT Guwahati, I know if you applied for seed, you could not get in, you go and talk to some professor. They are ready to take you as an intern under them, and they will also help you out with building a portfolio and preparing for the examination, and things of that sort. Uh, Now, like when you apply to a college, right? Um, you would have certain expectations of when you're going there. You're going to like spend, I don't know, 2 years of your life there. probably even more for some people who like to take extensions and work on their projects for longer times. There are certainly people like that. That behavior is not condoned at IT. They do not appreciate it at all. But I know there are people who do it. Um, so yeah, it was a very uh, mixed bag for me. Like I had some different expectations, and IT provided me with different things. Um, IIT Bombay has a very good and rigid structure, I must say. Like it provides a lot of great opportunities. Um, like if you want, if you can be as involved in as many things as you want, and you can be as least involved in as many things as you want. It's not that everybody has to participate, but I would like it's a good idea to participate, because once you participate, you collaborate with other people, you get to know more and more things, and that is how you make the best out of your time at IITB. Um, it's not just you just don't go there to do your courses, get good grades, and like graduate, right? That is one part of it, but that is kind of not that fun part of it. Coursework is always going to be there. Look at the life beyond IDC and design once you're there. I would say always, even when you're not at IDC, wherever you are, like wherever college you are, like whatever you're doing right now, um, always keep looking beyond what you're doing right now. And that is how you build, that is how you explore, that is how you find new opportunities. Uh, if you talk to people, you'll get to know things that they are doing, and it might be a spark to create a new fire, that it might be a spark for a new idea in your life. um, Even when you're like, if you're graduates, or if you're in the final, I would, yeah, it's July almost, like people would be graduating or would be in the final stages of their final presentations or thesis or whatever. uh, Look beyond, and you'll find new things, and those new things will help you to create a new portfolio, that will help you to create new projects. And these are the things that would get you, like, if even if you're trying to apply, and if you get into the interview rounds, these are the things that will help you to gain an edge over other people. um, See, everybody who's from architecture, most of the people I know had a very basic architecture portfolio with their final thesis projects and whatnot projects that they had done. Yeah, that is good, according to me. Uh, they do take in students who do not have a industrial design or a design portfolio, just an architecture portfolio of sorts. But it does give you an edge. It does help you a lot. If you have projects that are industrial design oriented in the interview round. um, the thing is, like, you don't have to have like extremely polished projects. They want to see your aptitude for design, how much do you understand things, how much you can figure out things by looking at it. Let's say, so right now I have this remote here, right? How, like, yeah, they'll ask you, what do you think how this remote is made? You'll say, like, it is made from plastic. It will be made like, okay, it's made for plastic. What is the method it would have used? Like, will it be injection molding? Will it be stamped? How will it be made? If you do not know the process, you must be able to figure it out on the spot. Okay, I see, like, there is this line going here, it means it has to be made in two pieces. If there are two pieces, there are going to be some sort of indents or bosses, right? Like, you see those, the best example would be Lego. You see those things, those things piercing out, right? And there are these holes which they just fit into. So these are the sort of things, like, कि हाँ ठीक है ऐसा बना होगा. Like, can you can you on the spot, like, think of how things are going to be made? That shows your aptitude, and that is what is important. um Also, like, being in a, like, once you're there, being in a very collaborative, you have a very collaborative as well as a competitive um, environment. You learn from people from a lot of different backgrounds. in my class, there were a lot of engineers, mechanical engineers. They bring an entirely different skill set to the table. We had some designers, we had some, yeah, we had architects, we had interior designers, we had designers, and we had like mechanical engineering people. Everybody comes from a different background, and everybody has something that they have to share. Learn from everyone. There is going to be a competitive environment because, yeah, that is how education is. Um, but yeah, learn from people. Don't be like कि नहीं उसको ज़्यादा आता है मेरे को कम आता है. That is a very different, that is a very wrong attitude. Just learn from people from different backgrounds. Do not underestimate yourself. If you do, like, you will lead into depression, like very bad depression. Just learn, just grow. Don't look down on anyone, don't look down on yourself, just look up to people. Just try and reach somewhere. And if that is the type of environment you'll have, like, it would be a very, it would be beneficial for the entire classroom. um, Also, I would like to uh, talk about what are the skills that a person gains during a master's program. um, a lot of people I know, like, some students have come to me, and they think that if they do a masters, they'll have like these shiny toys in their portfolio, like super sick, tight renderings. Like, you look at products and they look extremely real. They learn how to make things in CAD. They'll learn Rhino. They'll learn SolidWorks and whatnot. Yeah, so that is not that happens. That is up to you to learn. What they'll teach you and what is very important, according to me, is to learn the ability to think critically and creatively, and the ability to learn how to push through things. Like, how do you manage yourself, how do you manage your time, how do you manage your resources, how do you manage others around you. These are the type of skills that you learn, and these are the type of skills that are extremely necessary for a career, like for anybody's career, even for personal growth. These are the type of things that are like extremely necessary to learn. uh, the college won't teach you like softwares. You have to learn that software or rendering or things like that, sketching, whatever. Like, it is, you have to learn all those things on your own time, and it is all up to you how much you learn it and how much you do not. The assignments will make you use those things, but you'll have to find your time to learn and then do it. Like, they'll ask you, bring in a like photorealistic thing of, let's say, a pen. They'll not tell you which software to use. They'll not tell you like what what rendering system to use. You if you don't know how to use a software, you'll have to learn it then and there, and then you have to produce the result. uh, and that is when you learn like how do you manage yourself and how do you manage your resources, like how much you know and how much you have to apply these things in what way to gain the result that is expected out of you. This is like very important life lesson, and everybody needs to know it, because that is the sort of things that weeds out, like, as you go up higher into an entrepreneurs or in a corporate ladder, right? These are the things that are important: management skills, leadership skills, like the ability to think critically and creatively as well. So these are the things. During your masters, I would also, like, if you're going there, like, communicate and create bond with like hundreds of past alumni that you have there. At IDC, I was very lucky that in 2020, like 2020, uh, in January, we celebrated the golden jubilee of of we celebrated the golden jubilee event of IDC. So all the alumni from all over the world, from the first batch, they were called, and it was a really nice opportunity to mix up with them, talk to them, learn from them, create bonds, create some contacts, and it was a really nice event, and it helped me a lot. Now I know quite a lot of people, uh, which is always useful in a creative environment, in a creative journey, that it's a very, even as there are a lot of architecture people here, right? You know how much your contacts are worth. When you're in a sticky situation, you do not have a job, if you need something, if you want to do something else, the contacts will help you a lot. And it is, they say your network is your net worth, and yeah, I completely agree. um what else? There was this thing. So there are also a lot of myths of sort that people think, like, if they, there are certain myths and certain ideas that people have created around going to IITs or studying at an IIT. Some people think, like, if you go to IIT, उधर जाएंगे, you'll get a very high paying job after that. It is very easy for IITians to get jobs. You'll be a very good designer because you have studied at IITs. Yeah, so all of these things are not exactly true. Um, there is also, it is all dependent on you, how much, how good you do, how lucky you are, and how much you're there at the right place at the right time, like that. These are the type of things that are very important. uh, Being a good designer or not, once you have been taken into a design institute for a master's program, yes, you are a good designer, because that is why they took you in. They would not have taken you in because you were a bad designer. So yeah, please, everybody is a good designer. Some are a little better, some are a little lazier, I would say. They're not worse. Some people are lazy, some people are not. Um, Getting a job in industrial design at this moment is kind of difficult. A lot of the jobs are now digital, and people, like, the world is going towards interaction design, UX design, mobile apps, websites, digital services, uh, all these things. So it's not easy right now to get a job in industrial design. And even if you get a job in industrial design, they are not that high paying. um, Most people, like, we had 14 in our class, right? I think only three of us are doing, I guess, three or four, I guess. So something around three or four, like, which is three or four people are doing like real industrial design jobs. Rest others are in UX, or somebody is doing something else, or something, or like something or something else. So it's not easy to get a job. You have to have like a very certain, like, good skills, and you have to be very rigid with yourself that you want to do an industrial design job. Then only you'll find it. Otherwise, if you want a good paying job, yeah, it's easy. You can just take a UX job if you're interested in that sort of thing. um, yeah, so those were the most major things I would have liked to cover. um, at the end, I would also like to talk about a very important thing, I feel, which is, what is the scope of industrial design, like, here, as well as, like, if you're, if you have done an industrial design course from IIT Bombay, let's say, what is the scope, what is your future with it? And 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 yeah, like, what if you do it from here, if you do it from some foreign country, if you go to Japan, or say US, or like somewhere in Germany. So the thing is, this program at I would specifically talk about things about IIT Bombay, because that is what my experience has been. That is where I went, and it would all be my personal uh, like thoughts. There are people who think differently from me. There are, so yeah, it is just my opinion that I'm giving right now. So the program, it will prepare you for a lot of things. It is a very competent program. It is like, there are certain, like, there are people who have gotten to IIT Bombay, did industrial design, and then got good opportunities at all sorts of places. Mm, the global head of design at Whirlpool, um, Hari, Mr. Hari Nair, he was an ITC graduate. the person who is right now in Sweden, the head of design at Volvo, I guess. Uh, he is Ashok George. Ashok George was also from IIT Bombay. There are people from one of the big, like one of the good big firms in India, Futuring Design, with Chandrasekhar. Chandru, we call him Chandru. I forget his name. Yeah, Chandrasekhar Vyavahare. He is the lead of Futuring Design, which is a big firm in India. They have a lot of big name clients like Philips, Godrej, and everything. So so there are people who are in like very good places after this. You have a lot of opportunities. Um, there are there are certain things that are still lacking though. It's not just all like good things. There are certain things that are lacking at IDC as well as other design colleges in India. But I will not talk about other colleges. um, See, the MDes program at IDC and a lot of other IITs of sorts is more or less of a bridge program instead of a proper master's program, right? um, there is a good reason for it, and it comes with a like which has a lot of like pros of its own. The thing is, you will have a lot of people who come from a different background, like I said, like mechanical engineers, designers, artists. So it helps to build a collaborative environment and look at things from different directions, from a very like because the people are from very different backgrounds. um, but what happens is, because it enables people from a non-design background to get come to the same level by the end of the course. Like if you like, be it an architect, be it an engineer, be it a designer, by the end of the course everybody is somehow on the same level playing field, right? So it might lead to a lot of redundant things that you might have to learn as an architect. You'll have to learn the entire whole, like how to make a line, what are the elements of design, dot, point, line, shape, form, texture, all these things. You'll have to relearn it. It can get monotonous, it can get boring, but yeah, like I understand why it is there. um, so and because of that, what happens is they are trying to cover up a lot of ground in this tiny amount of 2 years. So there is a lot of pressure, and the opportunity to experiment can get reduced a little bit. Also, if you when you go to a college, right, like IDC or wherever, there is a there is certain amount of social design stigma, that not stigma, like there is a social design thing that they are trying to push, which is present because the ITs get a lot of grants from the government, and for those grants they have to design things that the government needs, and the government needs things that India wants. And India being a huge nation, we are still like people living, lots of population who have not a lot of resources. There is a lack of infrastructure, and a lot of people living in rural areas. So you have to focus on doing things for them as a design output, and it can be a little enforced at times. There is also a little very functionalist approach which is seen sometimes, and aesthetics and style and aesthetics can take a rear seat while you're doing your projects or whatever design activities that happen. um, and there are people who also focus a lot on research and academia in design, uh, rather than expression and output. So these, like when I even say these points, I do not take mean these things in a wrong way, or these are not bad things. These are really good things, and somebody has to do it. They are great, like all this structure and rigidity and all these things are great for some people and can be a little limiting for some people. um, I was one of those, like I'm one of those who likes to experiment and I like to fail. I don't mind failing. I think it's fun. Like you at least did something that nobody else was doing. Uh, yeah, you don't always want to be like, I don't want to be certain of what people. There are people who like certainty in life. There are most we humans are basically wired in a way that we do not like ambiguity. So yeah, it makes sense for people to know what they're doing and to know where they'll be at the end of whatever they are doing. I am not one of those. I like to experiment. I like to have a bit more freedom. I like to do things and fail, and I want to do and see how things happen. Um, so yeah, I had a little different expectations, and uh, so keep that in mind whenever you apply. Make sure your vision is aligned. Hello. Um,
Hello.
I guess my connection got lost.
Yep, you're audible, Akash.
Yeah. So I was saying I was one who likes to experiment. I like a lot more freedom. I had different expectations. So my recommendation would be to keep that in mind wherever you apply. Like make sure that your vision is aligned to what the institution's visions are, and that will help you a lot because you'll find the place where you feel you belong. Like you'll find the place where they push you to doing what you want to achieve instead of you trying to fight with the system. um, so yeah, if it would have been like right now, if there was somebody else who was talking instead of me, they would have told you a lot more, I guess, positives today. They would have told you like, no, that this was the best experience ever. I think it was a very good experience, but a lot of my classmates would have disagreed from me, like when I said the last bit of things, and it's just my personal opinion. Um, Also, there is one thing that if you, it's a very difficult recommendation to make, but I think if you have the money to spend and you're not worried about financial situations that much, I would still urge people to check out colleges in Europe or the US. Um, there is those places, what they will provide you is going to be something very different. Um, we are all a part of a global economy right now. It's a global civilization that we live in. The boundaries, the barriers do not matter as much as they used to do in the past. Um, there are there is a lot of need for vernacularity. There is still a need for taking traditions forward. That is there. But I also know there are people who like to be more a part of this global economy and a global civilization, and they want to treat the world as a whole. So if you go to these colleges, right, a lot of colleges in Europe, they'll have a very multicultural, very broad, uh, like international crowd. uh, what that helps again, that sparks a lot of ideas, that exposes you to a lot of things, because somehow in India you're still like, once you go from here, like I studied in Jaipur. After that I went to Mumbai. um, I had the same like I had half the number of people from when I was in bachelor's, but they were all from the same states. We had like some people who were from Kerala, some people who were from Bengal, some people from Rajasthan, some from Kashmir, some from UP, some like me from Chhattisgarh, and all these things. Like there was still that bag of people that I had in my bachelor's. There was nothing. There was no sort of newness of the cultural background that was there. There was certainly there was some difference. Obviously, that is going to be there, but it wasn't that big of a difference. And I know people who have gone to universities in a foreign country, and I hear from their experiences. I see that they're more open towards ideas. They're more. There is there are certainly like there is still some limitation in our mindsets. There is still some limitations to our exposure being in India, um, and going, meeting, accepting foreign cultures, foreign lands, foreign ideas. It can help you in your growth. So that is uh, what I would like to say at the end. Yeah. Just if the team has some questions they would like to ask me, or if the audience here would like to ask me some questions.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Akash. I think that was a very, very detailed session. And for one, I definitely want to say this that, thanks a lot for actually being so candid about your experience, because that's actually what we're trying to do here. We want you to just come and share your experience so that other people could probably just try to learn from that or just take some guidance from that. So thanks a lot for that. We do have a couple of questions. And so to move into the Q&A part of this session for today, the first question that we have for you is that what do you think are the various activities, this could be in terms of internships, it could be in terms of competitions, that a student could do in their undergraduation to figure out which masters would be the right one for them? And this is obviously a question very specifically for architectural students, and when they're trying to make a decision that, okay, I want to do a master of design. And then the second question being, which one is the right one for me?
Um, it's a very tricky question, right? See, which one is right for you? There are two folks to this. Um, One thing is you do what the industry is going towards right now, right? Second is you do what you like to do, what you want to do. I had like when I started learning about industrial design and all these things, my idea was just that I want to study this. Why? Because I am going to have fun studying this. There were certain people I know, who were from a different background, like a lot of people who were from communication design or visual design and all these things. There were people who wanted to do that because they knew that is where the industry was leading. Digital services, UX design, like interaction design, like design of these mobile applications and web based and interfaces of this sort, like human and machine interaction of sorts. These are the things that are like hot right now. So people want to do that. Um, so it depends on what you want to do. First of all, like what is it that excites you? Second is do some research and see what are the openings, what are the type of things that like that the industry is hiring. um, for architecture graduates, industrial design and visual design, and these are the two very easy things to go into. um, Oh, the other, I'm remembering. So the other day, I got a call from one of my juniors. They were asking if, like, what should they do? They're not very much keen into pursuing architecture after this. Like, they had their finals like a few, like last week or something. Um, and from what I see, they're like very interested in fashion and photography and all these things. There are people who I know, like my very good friend Adit Basu. Um, he is an architectural photographer. Just look at things what you're interested in. So this girl, she is very much interested in fashion and she's trying to make clothes and all these things. And she says, "No, I do not want to do uh, fashion design, but what is it that I could be like? I want to be around this, but I do not want to do this." So one of the things is fashion communication. It's a very interesting field. It's a very interesting overlap, even from what you've learned in architecture into going to fashion communication. So yeah, these are the things. Just do not think of these individual silos that are there. Think of, there are so many courses right now, there are so many things right now. Just look at, take like two things that you like and try to merge it and see what it is that you would be interested in. That is all I have to say. Either do that or go with whatever the industry is asking for and wherever the highest paying jobs are.
Thanks a lot for that, Akash. I think that definitely answers that question. I think my second question is very specific to the whole application process for actually getting into the M.Des program for industrial design. So, if I understand correctly, there is also an interview stage or like an interview round. So,
Yes,
could you talk a
yes,
little
there
bit
is.
about how a architectural student can, prepare for such an interview where they're actually coming in and applying for a Master of Design?
um, See, the interview, um, how do I say? So the interview is very catered towards the student who is applying, right? For me, the interview is going to be different, even though I'm from an architecture background, and for the next person who is going to be there, the interview is going to be very different. Um, a lot of the interview is dependent on your portfolio. And okay, so in IIT Bombay, once you get your like seat scores and whatnot, you have to apply for the college. When you apply for the college, they will ask you to do a couple of assignments. Those assignments are very necessary, very important, and depending on how you do those assignments, it could make or break your chance to get into the interview. Um, so those questions, so for me, there were I had to write something about some newspaper article or something, and then there were like two questions were more or less about uh, I had to produce a few pieces of the work that I had done, and another was something else. So the questions were directly based from those questions, those assignment questions that were there during the college application. So so it will be very important for you to know what you have done. Sorry, to know what you have done, and to be competent with your own work. The other thing is they will expect you to have some basic knowledge about the things in the particular field that you're applying to, right? Like if you say you're applying to uh, industrial design, they would expect you to know like what material is what, how something would be manufactured. Like if they show you something, let's say they show you an extruded piece of aluminum, and they ask you what is this, you have to be able to tell what material is this. They'll let you like touch it, like fiddle around with it, but you need to be able to realize what material it is, some idea of the manufacturing processes that it might have used, some finishes, some things like some basic ideas of industrial design and what an industry is. Also, there is one very important thing everybody must know. I think, what is the difference between industrial design and product design? I would like to you to all go and search for it. All right, I'm not going to give you the answer, but you need to know what the difference between industrial design and product design is. The second thing is, um, what is the difference between manufacturing and fabrication? You need to know like what product comes into manufacturing, what products comes into fabrication, and where does the entire difference lie. Like you all need to know this. Like just go search for it. I'll not tell you the answers, but yeah.
Thanks a lot for that, Akash. I think that brings me to my last question for the Q&A session for today, which is actually with respect to the scope of this particular master's program, both in India and also outside India. And also, if you could just elaborate a little bit about the demand for professionals who have finished this particular degree.
Um, um, Scope, as in scope of work, or the scope after like uh, sorry, scope of work that you are going to do, or the scope of you getting employed after this degree?
More in terms of the latter, scope in terms of opportunities that open up specifically after finishing this master's.
Okay. So you just look at anything, right? You look at a laptop, you look at a mobile phone, you look at your wire, you look at this headphones, you look at your glasses, everything you see or touch around you is designed, right? And there has to be a person who is going to design these things. And as we go ahead in this world, like there is a lot, most of the products that we see or touch or do whatever with are manufactured products. They are all mass manufactured products, and every company hires industrial designers. Almost every company hires industrial designers, and those who do not, they are lacking behind, and we can see that. So there is a lot of opportunity for everybody who is a designer to be able to do something like, basic examples like Godrej has multiple divisions. They have got an appliances division, they have got a furniture division, Godrej Interior. So these people, they'll hire designers for their furniture lineup. uh, Godrej Appliances division will hire designers for their like smart appliances, home appliances kind of a division. Um, so there is an opportunity everywhere. If you look in the foreign countries, there are so many companies like even Samsung, Microsoft has a dedicated hardware team now, like finally. So they are doing things. Even Amazon is making products now, Echo, Alexa smart devices. Mm, you can look at Apple or Google, or all these companies are making things. Then again, there is Herman Miller. These are the fine furniture companies. Herman Miller, Steelcase. All these people are making things. Then Philips. Everybody is making something or the other, right? So there is a lot of opportunity. There is like every place you go there is going to have something for an industrial designer to do there. Uh, Also, if you're not one of those who likes to work on a particular project or a particular team, if you are more like a consultancy kind of a person, there are a lot of design studios that are there. Frog is one of the biggest industrial design studios in the world. There is Design Partners, which is based in the UK, I guess. Even IDEO does some industrial design stuff. There in India, there is Futuring Design, there is Future Factory, there are there is a furniture place in Mumbai. I forget the name. There are so many opportunities if in the sector you want to work in. Like there is no lack of opportunities in India or beyond. Kohler is also hiring. Kohler is hiring industrial designers right now. If anybody who is from MDes interested, so yeah, so there is a lot of opportunity. Even if you do not get an opportunity in industrial design per se, there is a lot of hybrid interaction slash product design sort of jobs, which are mostly design of digital products, digital solutions, like as I said, like an app or some smart control device. There are so these are also the type of things that people are into designing. So there is a lot of opportunity everywhere. Everywhere you look at, you can find an opportunity. So yeah, there is no lack of opportunities as such.
All right. Thanks a lot for that, Akash. And I think with that, I come to the end of the Q&A session, and with that, also the session. So, on behalf of Team Planty, I would just like to thank you, Akash, for taking the time out for this wonderful session and for joining us today to share your experience with us.
Thank you all. It was a good opportunity for me to share whatever knowledge I have, probably. Yeah, thank you all. It's a very good initiative, I think. You guys are doing a great job.
Thanks a lot, Akash. Means a lot.